Okay, welcome back to my next video, where today we're going to create a bit of a copy, bit of a remake of Donkey Kong. Okay, so a little bit of a image there for you. So you've got your little Mario dude, or Jumpman as he was called originally. You can Google it if you don't believe me. Where you've got these barrels, and we'll just refresh it there. Got Donkey Kong, spawns there, animated sprite. Mario looks like he's moving with his weird limpy movie animation he has. Then every 10 seconds, a little barrel, nice. I could have got a better spray, I'm not going to lie. This is the original one, but it's stretched, it looks a bit daft. And then I've got to make sure I can dodge the barrels and make my way to the top at the moment. Not put a win condition in, maybe we'll look at that later on. So a nice little daft game that you can play. So it's really using and focusing on using the built-in physics. Now in a minute, obviously, as well. Yay, I won. But built-in physics, you can see as it go down, they go faster because they gain the momentum. Then on the flat one, they slow down, and then once they touch this end part, they disappear. So as usual, get onto your Replit accounts, make a brand new P5.js script, like so. Call it something appropriate, Donkey Kong, and then get rid of all the rubbish that comes. Get onto P5 Play, and we're going to copy in our starting script as usual, like that. Just going to make sure my laptop, it might flash for a second, I apologise if it does. Just need to make sure it's plugged in. There we go. That's why it's performance mode's on. You can tell we're doing some hardcore programming. Got this performance mode started. So we're going to get rid of that, replace that with our clear as usual. Get rid of all that rubbish, and we're ready to start. So first things first, you saw in the game I had a bunch of platforms. So we got to make them. Now, if I'm honest with you, the way I've done it is a basic way. I've used individual sprites for the floor. Obviously, you might want to use an array or something. It'd probably make more sense if I'm completely honest with you. Maybe we'll look at refactoring that at the end. So we're going to have let platform 1, and then let's just put them all on one line. So platform 2, 3, 4, 5, and make sure we change the names properly. So nothing too crazy at the minute. I'm putting it on one line just so we can see it all better and things like that. I want my bottom floor, which is going to be different from a platform, so let ground floor, just like that. Then want something to start our barrels that are going to get made, so barrels like that. We want let platforms, so that's going to be our group that we make later on, possibly depending on how I feel. I don't know if we necessarily need that. Me not being able to spell redundant. We're going to have a main character called Jumpman, so that's Mario's original name. We're going to have Donkey Kong because that's his name. Donkey Kong. And then we're going to need some pictures as well. So we'll say let Mario image, DK image, B image for our images. And then we are going to use a timer, so just bang that in there as well. Okay, let's get rid of Grammarly because it's absolutely useless, don't need it. And let's just, bit of lag on my mouse there. And we should get a nice blank screen, nothing on it, and no errors. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this a bit smaller. So let's go 500, 600, make it nice and small. Now we're going to need gravity. So let's go world.gravity equals, I've typoed 12, but let's leave it at that, see how it goes. So we'll start first, we're going to make our barrels. So barrels equals a new group. And then we're going to make a bunch of things. So let's go barrels.diameter. That makes it a circle shape. It's 20. Barrels.mass, because we want it to be heavier. I'm going to put 200. If I'm honest with you, I'm a bit new to using the using mass, so I'll play around with it later on. Because as it's set in P5, mass is based on the size of the sprite. So at the moment, with them being so small, I don't think we'll have very much mass, so we'll see how that comes out. What we do want though is, I'm going to spell this next one wrong, we want the bounciness. That's a value between 0 and 1. So 1 being really bouncy, 0 being not bouncy at all. So we can play around with that. Barrels dot friction, because we're playing around with physics today, and barrels dot image equals bimage. So I'm going to put in my function preload nice and early. What I'm going to do is I'm going to load my pictures in now. I've already got these pictures. I can't say I've made them myself, but I've found the original, or close to the original sprites in there. And I've already made them, so I'm just going to download them really quick because I've got them on a separate thing, and I'll show you what it'll look like in a second. So I'm just going to drag these on and get them nice and loaded in. So you'll see I've got barrel image, Donkey Kong, which is a sprite sheet, and Mario, which is a sprite sheet. So what I can do is ignore these images and then just load them in. So I've got Mario image equals load image, and I need the right name, which is Mario.png. Obviously, if you go as well and you want to use these exact sprites, go for it. Just go onto my Replit, and it's not private, so you can go ahead and just take that if you want. But I don't own the copyright. If you're going to use if you're going to make any of these apps and sell them, or anything that's against copyright, then you need to be careful. But I'll leave that up to you. It is just a tutorial. I'm not selling or claiming anything as my own. So we've got our barrels. So what I could do is just, check it works. So I can just do new barrels.sprite. 100. Oh, capital S. And hopefully should see a barrel. There we go. So there he is, just floating in the air, not doing anything at the moment. Now I've put the world.y, which is what I'm going to do in the first place, and get it right. It should spawn the barrel and it should chop to the floor. There we go. So that's all worked absolutely fine. So we can crack on with our platforms, okay? So we're going to make a new group. Do we need a new group? Yeah, I think we do. I'll let you know my thinking process. So basically, we're going to make 5 separate platforms. That's not an issue. But I want to be part of the group because I'm going to have to make it so Mario can't just jump in the air. So we'll do platforms equals a new group. Then that's it really, because we're not doing anything with it. We're not going to be particularly doing anything crazy. We're not going to be setting loads of sprite. Might if you want to change it with a sprite or something, change the image, but I honestly don't have a lot to do with it. It's purely to make an array. So I've pasted them in there just because I've already got the measurements, but I'll just talk you through them. So hopefully it runs, but it helps to not be impatient. Oh, platforms. And I'll explain why I've written the code I've written. So what I've done in my previous program is I've used a thing called canvas width. So what I could quickly do, just to save a lot of issues, is go canvas width equals 500. And then it doesn't actually matter at this point, it's the same number, but we've got a nice constant there, so I'll just refer to that later on. And that's just to get the measurements so it fits on the screen. So there we go. So I've got my bits and bobs. Those are my angle platforms. So what I've done there is, see this first one, it's at 50 across, and 100 down. And then the width is, now, I'll honestly need to ask the developer about this, because what I've found is that For some reason, I don't know if it's P5 Play, but if you make something that's the width, it seems to be half. So to go full width, you have to times it by 2. I've done it in a lot of these programs. I honestly don't know why that's the case, because it's not in P5 normal. So maybe it's something daft, I'm not sure. Maybe something I'm doing wrong. I really don't know. So I've times it by 1.5. So it gives us basically 3/4 of the size. So we've got a nice gap, because obviously we want to be able to jump and get up these different platforms. So those are our platforms there. And then what we need to do is make the floor. So I called it ground floor, I think. Ground floor. It was a new. I'll demonstrate what I mean by the width thing. So sprite, I'm going to make it at x0. I'm going to do height take away 10, so it's just floating off the bottom. And then if I do canvas width, like this, right? What you'll notice is that it's half the size of the screen. We go all the way to this end here. If I just prove a point by just going, making it black so we can see the edges. Like loads. That's the edge of the screen there, but why is it there? I am honestly not sure why that's the case. I think it's a P5 Play issue. I don't know what it is. I'll have to find out. So I times it by 2 and it fixes the problem for now. So that's that. Now we do want some borders around here, because otherwise you can just jump off the edge and the barrels are going to roll off this edge here and things like that. So we need to make some borders. Okay, so you can probably make these as local variables really. So we can say left border equals a new sprite at 0, and 300, don't want it to be very wide. It needs to be. I get we're using height there. Let's see. We have a bit of an experiment here. Let's have a look. I think it's going to do the same thing as last time. Oh no, it did do a height, so that's actually wet. But I'm pretty sure X across. Why did I put that as 300? I had a reason for it. Can't think. Oh well, not important. There. Right border equals a new sprite just as before, and this one's going to be our canvas width and our height. How tall does it need to be? Height, I think. And then S, so that should be the same one on the right. I'm sure I've messed it up. Yeah. So it's done that half height thing again. So let's just do height times 2, and then we'll put that in that one there. I just manually did it because I know that the height's 600. Oh, don't like that. So 0, height times 2. I should just make my life a lot easier, shouldn't I? And just do exactly the same thing instead of playing around with height and hoping for the best. Let's just do it properly. The thing with code though, you always try new things. Obviously, I've made this as a practice to make sure it works for the tutorial, but then you just get a little bit. You do things differently, and you just want to change your mind. And is that gonna look a bit better? That looks a lot better, doesn't it? So then we need to do our top border and bottom border. So let top border. Now I'm not actually going to necessarily use these that much. I possibly might for the collisions to make sure you don't bounce off the edge, possibly. I'll have a think. So what's doing? Yeah, another one. So we need to have canvas width. 0. And then I want it to be canvas width. Now these are all static collisions. I'm just going to copy that, I think. So I'm getting bored of writing the same stuff. Must be really boring for you to watch as well, so let's try and speed it up a little bit. Let's make life a little bit easier. So we should have a border on the whole thing now. Bottom, top. Don't really need a bottom one, I guess, but you know, it's not going to hurt, so let's leave it in. Okay. I think we are probably going to use these for collisions later on, so really easy fix. Just put these at the top. And we just get rid of all of this stuff because we don't need any of it. We're just declaring the variable like that. There we go, and then we can just get rid of the lets, and then now no errors are going to come. It's all going to work absolutely fine. So next thing we want to do is we want to create the player. So I'm just going to scroll down a little bit and then make some room. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on our jump man. So we're going to say jump man equals a new sprite. We're going to start him about 50 across. Height, take away 30, I think it's fine. So he's not stuck in the ground. Size, I'm going to do 32 by 32. I'll explain the reason for that in a moment. It's basically down to this picture being 32 height and 64 width. So I want it 32 so it doesn't show both Marios. I want it just cut off this left hand part. So hence that. Then we're going to apply the sprite sheet. So jumpman dot sprite sheet equals, is that what I called it? Mario image? Yep, Mario image like that. So we've got the sprite sheet applied. We don't want it to jump around and look weird, so jumpman dot rotation lock equals true. Yep, true. Now this is where it starts getting a bit weird because the jumpman dot unease dot frame delay, and it just slows it down so it doesn't look as crazy. We'll play around that with a minute, and then we're going to add some animations. So, get in the right place. Jumpman dot add unease. So what this does is it's a function. There we go. That goes ahead and allows us to add some animations to our program, just like that. So then what we're going to do, we're going to name them. So we're going to have run and stand. Run. And then we're going to have stand. Let's spell it right. And then all we've got to do is add some more curly brackets just to make things extra confusing. We need a comma there. And then we're going to say row 0 and then how many frames. Like that. And then standing row 0 frames 1. Okay. So we can run that now and hopefully it'll work. There we go. So then what we can do now is it's just automatically had nothing showing at the minute. It's just showing our guy. So then what we can do is we can choose what we want our dude to be. To be fair, standing is pretty spot on at the minute, so I think we can leave it as it is. We're quite lucky that it looks nice. But then I don't know if it's a bit big, so we can always do as well. Jumpman dot scale equals 0.8 just to make it a little bit smaller. There we go. So it looks nice. So now we've got that. Let's make Donkey Kong. Let's get him working. So Donkey King. He is the Donkey King. Equals a new sprite again. We're going to make him at exactly the same because this sprites are the same. Doesn't necessarily need to be dynamic, to be fair. It could be static actually. We'll keep him as it is because I think I'll drop him in a bit high. So we'll let him use, but we'll give him the physics as well. Again, Donkey Kong dot sprite. Capital on the second S, not the first one. So DK image, I think I called it. Then Donkey Kong. Donkey King, don't I? Dot unease dot frame delay equals. Now I'm doing a bit more on this one because I want it to be a bit faster. We could obviously reduce that later on. We'll see how I feel. And I'm just going to add, because I've already got these written down, save as writing out twice. I've already showed you how it works. So same thing, because we've got few more animations rather than 2, but these are his idle ones, and these what he's going to do is throw out his barrels like that, and then we're going to do Donkey Kong. Oof. Oh my god, I can't even spell Donkey Kong. Spell it right. Donkey Kong dot Annie equals idle, so it just chills, and then we'll make him smaller as well. I think he's gonna be too big actually. Let's have a look how it looks. I quite like it. I mean, obviously, what I could do as well is I could always just stick it as static. Then what's going to happen is he's going to spawn a bit high. So what I'm going to have to do is just have a play around. It's not really a massive deal at all, but it's just you got to faff with your pixel size and stuff. Like that, which I don't particularly like doing. It's better. There we go. You know, whatever. So we don't have that weird bounce at the start. So this is the sort of gist of our game going. So let's get our Mario guy working as well. So let's go if kb.pressing. Oh, let's put this in the correct place because otherwise we're going to throw an error. Like that. So if I'm pressing A, I want to move left. So what I'm going to do is do Jumpman. Now I'm going to do a weird one here. So .mirror .x equals true because I don't want it to flip, so it looks like he's walking the right way. Now I'm going to do Jumpman .x minus equals 2. This is the speed, so you can change that if you want. And then Jumpman .Annie equals run. So we'll see if that works. It should. Hopefully. There we go. And I've got stuck there, which is fine because I like the rest of it. So then we can literally copy this now. If I'm pressing D, I'm not going to have to worry about the mirror. So we'll put it to false. And we'll put it as plus equal, like that. Then before this, we'll do jump. Let's copy this actually, save a bit of time. So now, if I'm pressing A and D, so I'm running, and I'm not. So then all we need to do now is add in exactly the same thing. So if kb.presses, not pressing, because we don't want to hold it down, space, if I press the space bar, let's do a little bit of a if statement-y stuff now, because now we only want to jump if we're touching the ground floor or if I'm touching the platforms. So I do if Jumpman dot colliding with platforms, or, which I don't know where it is, there it is, on this keyboard it's a bit smaller, Jumpman dot colliding ground floor. So if I'm touching one or the other, I'm going to do Jumpman dot velocity dot y. We'll take away 6 for now. So now what I should be able to do is pretty much navigate the whole map. So I can jump. So you see I can jump when I'm there, but see I'm spamming it, I'm not floating in the air. And then I can still jump. So I can't just cheat and just float over things indefinitely. That's looking good. So now what I need to do is make some barrels. Now I'm going to do something a bit weird I haven't done in the video before. It's going to the idea of showing you what an async function is. So we're going to say async function spawn barrel, like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to say let barrel equals, I don't actually need to do this, but we'll do barrels. I could just do new barrels.sprite, but and then we're going to send it from Donkey Kong .x plus 50, so don't hit him, and then Donkey Kong I can't spell Donkey Kong, can I? And Donkey Kong .y, so I'll spawn a nice new one like that. Now it's an async function. Now what this means is we can set it onto a timer. So instead of having like an internal timer, if you want something to work every X amount of seconds, what we can do is we can just make it a thing in here called set interval. So we can do set interval. I'm going to do spawn barrel, and you set the time. So if I do 10,000 like that, every 10 seconds I'll put it to 5,000. Every 5 seconds, Donkey Kong should spawn a barrel. Or spawn something at least. It won't quite be a barrel just yet. So in a second, there we go. And we spawned a barrel. And that's going to go all the way down. So that's worked. Every 5 seconds, spawn a barrel. It's probably too much. And what we'll find as well is that because at the moment they're all just going to get stuck at the bottom where Mario is because there's no way of getting rid of them or anything like that. I think Donkey Kong does need to be big because those barrels are really, really big. Just do Donkey Kong dot scale equals 1.5. So yes, they're just going to hit me in a minute and just probably glitch out Mario and move him like that. Is he going to glitch any further? I'm kind of intrigued to see what happens. Eventually, I think he's going to like get pushed into the wall and he's going to get squashed. Anyway, a bit irrelevant. So we've done that. So that looks good. Yeah, that's pretty much the majority of the game. So now what we need to do is just see what happens when we touch a barrel. So we can say if Jumpman dot colliding with the barrels. That's why it was a group, not a single sprite. Let's just put him back to Jumpman.x equals 50. Jumpman.y equals, what did I originally set him at? Height take away 30, so let's go take away 30. So now if I hit him, I will hopefully get put to the start. So let's see if it works. I really don't like this kind of Mario running animation, but it's what it is. So I'm working my way up. Obviously you can change the speed, change how high it does. So if I hit this barrel now, puts back to the start. So obviously you could lose a life or whatever you want for that then. So one other thing I need to do is what we're going to find is these barrels just sort of get clumped up at the end. So what we need to do is for let b of barrels if b dot collides left border. That's why we made it a global variable. But if we just do left border, when it bounces here, it'll do the same thing which we don't want. So we're going to say and b dot y is greater than platform 5 dot y. So that's why I know it's going to be down here somewhere because the y is going to be greater than that. So b dot collides left border and b dot y is greater than platform 5 dot y. All I'm going to do is do b dot remove. So now what should happen some barrels are going to come. I actually need to get out of the way of one of them and we're sorted and stay alive long enough for the rest of it. What I like as well, because of the physics, it just automatically rotates and things. I've not done anything special to make it rotate. It just does it itself. So there we go. So let's make sure we dodge all of them. It's close. I honestly thought I was going to go. If it goes back to the start, I think it's going to ruin it. So should we see these barrels should just despawn? Hey, so it's wet. So that's that. So you're going to see what I didn't want to swap in now, which is this, and then I spawn there, and it's all awkward. That's pretty much the gist of the game. Additional things you might want to do is obviously stick a princess that you've got to get to, and then maybe you make more things. We could obviously as well make it even harder by doing camera.x equals jumpman.x, which is this making it different to the actual game. Camera.y equals jumpman.y, and then do camera.zoom equals 2, and then suddenly it's going to be a lot more zoomed in. And see there, obviously because of the zoom in, these borders look a little bit strange. So I've sort of drawn them off the screen. So you have to do a little bit of playing, make these not as wide and things like that. But then it does make it more difficult. Luckily, I'm great, so I'll take it back. So that's possibly something you could do. It's entirely up to you. I don't think there's anything worth doing that. Obviously, as well, you can change animation. So when the barrel spawns, he switches. You could just have him as a static image. It's probably easier, and then you switch the image for a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the game. Obviously, added some scoring, some timing, whatever you want, but that's pretty much it. So hopefully you enjoyed it. It was nice and easy to follow. We're getting so close to the 1,000 subscribers now. So honestly, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe because we're nearly at 1,000. It's a big thing for me. I'd really like to get to 1,000. Obviously, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.